In the heart of Cold War Berlin, where concrete walls sliced a city in two and watchtowers loomed over no man's land, it was 1954, and while soldiers patrolled above with rifles and searchlights, deep below, men with shovels and picks worked by lantern light, sweat dripping from their brows, soil-filling sacks carried out one by one. They were not miners, but spies and engineers, Americans and Britons determined to pierce the Iron Curtain not with guns, but with a tunnel. Its purpose was simple yet audacious: to tap into Soviet communication lines buried beneath East Berlin and listen to the whispers of an empire. By the spring of 1955, the tunnel stretched nearly a quarter mile, reinforced with timber beams and lined with cable. At 2 a.m., under the cover of darkness, teams unspooled wire, threading it through the underground artery that snaked towards Soviet lines. They moved silently, knowing that above them lay border guards who would shoot without hesitation if the ground gave way. When the tunnel finally reached its target, thick bundles of telephone cables that carried the voices of Soviet generals, commanders, and diplomats, the operation shifted from shovels to microphones. Hidden in the dirt, listening devices began to hum with life, capturing conversations meant only for Moscow. For months, the West feasted on secrets. Each intercepted call revealed troop movements, supply routes, even the frustrations of Soviet officers stationed far from home. The information flowed like a hidden river, analyzed in shadowed rooms by intelligence officers who understood that knowledge was more powerful than any weapon. And yet, even as the tunnel's success grew, so too did the unease. Could something this bold remain hidden forever in a city where neighbors spied on neighbors and betrayal was a currency? The answer came in the most unexpected way. Unknown to the men digging, unknown even to the CIA's highest ranks, the tunnel had been compromised before the first spade of earth was lifted. A British mole inside MI6, George Blake, had betrayed the plan to the Soviets long before construction began. But the Soviets, calculating as ever, did not expose it. Instead, they allowed the operation to continue, feeding the West real intelligence, while carefully steering which cables carried the most sensitive conversations. For nearly a year, the tunnel hummed with stolen voices, while the KGB watched silently, biding its time. Then, in April 1956, the ground itself betrayed the secret. A sudden discovery was staged by East German workmen, digging as if by chance into the hidden artery. Soldiers rushed to the site, cameras captured the scene, and the Soviets declared to the world that the imperialists had tunneled beneath Berlin like thieves in the night. The tunnel was shut down, cables severed, the silence below restored. Officially, it was a triumph for the East, proof of Western espionage exposed. But behind the curtain, Moscow smiled at the game it had played, while Washington reeled at the possibility that years of work had been wasted. The tunnel, though destroyed, lived on in whispers and photographs, an audacious gamble buried beneath the divided city. To some, it was a failure, its secret undone by betrayal. To others, it was a symbol of the lengths to which nations would go in a war fought not with armies, but with shadows. And in Berlin, where walls would rise and fall, where families were divided by barbed wire and soldiers stared across checkpoints with fingers on triggers, the memory of that tunnel remained, a scar beneath the earth, a reminder that sometimes the fate of nations is decided not in open battle, but in the silent dark, where shovels scrape soil and secrets flow like whispers through a wire.